The first thing which we will be covering is the latest update at CPCB portals, or we can say the latest updates in EPR, and the latest two new EPR applicability, which all of you might know. One is EPR for ELV, and the other one is EPR on solid waste management. So to begin this session, our agenda, as you can see, we will be discussing resolving login issues on the EPR portal, audit portal of CPCB, then CPCB grievance portal, EPR for ELV, understanding solid waste management, and question answer session. So I would request everyone to please mute your mic while we are discussing these things. In the meantime, at last, when we will have a question answer session, then we can have an open platform to discuss all this stuff. And I will try to resolve as much query you have. In the meantime, I would like to introduce my team who will be there, who will be noting all your requirements. And in case if you have any specific requirement, you can drop us a mail also. We will be sharing our contact details so that you can connect with us later after the webinar also. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, thank you, Vivek ji. So basically, starting with the first part, we will be dealing with EPR support portal. So we are starting with the EPR support portal. As all of you know, जैसे कि in the previous cases of plastic, e-waste and other things, we have seen there is a grievance portal. But there is an individual grievance portal for every category. But now the government has come with an EPR support portal where there will be much more transparency related to any kind of issues we are having. In the past, we have seen that there is issues related to registration, related to compliance, related to credit transfer, or any sort of issue. Then this grievance redressal portal is live now, which is going to be live. Uh, Okay, sir, we are seeing the messages. We will revert you back after a few minutes. Give us some time. Let us continue with this session first. So, grievance redressal portal is going to be live in few days so that the problems can be addressed in a better way. There are many issues right now which is actually not getting resolved. That's why the government has bought this portal. Moving to the next slide, what this portal will show us. So the EPR support portal is a centralized grievance redressal portal where you can raise your complaints on the basis of ticket based. It will be a ticket based management wherein we can have a real time tracking, and we hope there will be a faster, easy resolution in this portal. So what are the benefits if you are logging into through this portal? The first benefit which we can see that once you have lodged your complaint, you can track your grievance, like with whom it is pending and at what level it is pending. So it ensure accountability through ticket based tracking. The key facts and figures which are currently reflected in the government portals is that approx 24,000 total grievances have been received, among them 97% grievances addressed, 17,000 complaints registered, among them 57 officials onboarded. Now, what are the waste categories which will get covered in this grievance portal? The one is the plastic packaging, then the e-waste, batteries, tires, oil, and ELV. So basically, whatever EPR is getting launched, that is uh, being accommodated in this portal so that all the grievances will be raised through a single platform. So this is just a basic things we have bought about the EPR support portal. Once it will be live, we will be able to come up with more information and how the portal can be used to resolve your issues. Now, moving on to the next topic which we have is the audit portal. Government has also launched an audit portal. As all of you know very well that lots of things are going on in the time of compliances due to fake generation of credit, fake transfer of credit, and lot of things. To resolve these issues or to tackle this one, government has recently launched an audit portal by CPCB. Though it is not fully active, it is recently been introduced that these portal will be there through which the producers and the recyclers and other factors will be verified. The government will assign a separate team for the same, and we also don't know that whose audit it will be done. Like it will be on a random basis, just to bring more uniformity in the system. So we can have a platform overview. The audit portal is a centralized CPCB enabled digital system designed to streamline environmental audit execution. And the second part is that you can have a structured documentation and reporting. The third is regulatory monitoring and verification. This platform establishes a uniform technology driven audit framework across agencies. So, right now, if one is not accountable, but once this audit thing is implemented, the other people's, the producers, as well as the PIBOs and other categories, all will be accountable under this category. Regulatory significance, as you can see, we have mentioned it enhance the audit traceability and accountability, improve integrity, and enable timely regulatory review and oversight, supporting evidence-based environment enforcement. Institutional objective, as you can see, it is already mentioned. It ensure digital workflows, reduce administrative dependency. This is the major thing because what happens, we are currently right now with the EPR portal going live, we are facing a lot of issues and challenges which is not getting solved by administrative. So this will reduce administrative dependency. It will increase, strengthen the auditor agency coordination and is a reliable, verifiable compliance records. Operational workflow, as we all know, in the era of AI, this will be a totally secured authentication of authorized auditors, allocation and selection of audit assigned categories will be done, digital completion of structured audit forms, workload governance, and they will ensure that there will be controlled access, traceability activity, and process integrity. Again, this is the core system capabilities. We are not going much into this because as we know that audit portal is going to come, then once it will be live, we will come to know more about these things, like how the categories of producers or the PIBOs are getting selected, how the auditors are allotted for the audit, then what are the regulatory requirements the PIBOs have to comply or the producers have to comply, and what are the reportings we need to maintain. So we are not going in much more into the core system capabilities. Once let it get implemented, then we can, have a detailed session for the same. Again, the governance framework, it will be administered by the CPCB and it will cover the other departments like MOE, FCC. So all the major departments who is involved in EPR, their involvement will also be there to complete this audit process. So keeping this audit bit short only, we are moving on to the next one. Okay, so now the third topic is the single sign-on. As you all noticed that few days back, the CPCB has sent a messages across the producers and the PIBOs that everyone have to log into the single sign-on portal. So now what is the single sign-on? Single sign-on means if you are having multiple EPRs along with multiple IDs and password, there is a solution for the same. Now you need to log in only to the one EPR portal and from there you can access all your EPR. For example, if a company is having 5 EPR registration or they are having multiple GST and accordingly they have taken multiple registrations. So in that case, what will happen? The single sign-on will solve your problem. The persons who is having the same PAN, means the company who is having the same PAN with multiple GST and multiple EPR registration can use this portal for a single sign-on. The problems. So what problems this single sign-on will solve? Multiple EPR portals, multiple username and password, and the most important thing is forgotten credentials, login failures, and wasted time. Right now, nowadays we are seeing whenever we are logging into the plastic portal, we see that even after a certain period of time, like 180 days or something, password expires. So every time we have to, set up the credentials and store it. And again, after years, we need to reset it. So all these problems will get solved. The root cause. What is the root cause for bringing this single sign-on? There was a separate system for EPR, plastic, e-waste, battery, tire, used oil. So all have this made the compliance confusing and difficult to manage. Yeah, it's a bit true. Like in the future, there will be 10 EPR, which is going to be applicable. So for a company or any person, it's not quite possible to maintain all the categories of, ID and password as well as to monitor the compliance and credit transfer. So to solve all this root cause, the government has brought the single sign-on. The process of login. Okay, so the portal bit of look like this. So whenever we are trying to do this, we are trying to bring our EPR into a single sign-on. These are the things, and there are certain prerequisites before you sign on. For example, if anyone is signing off, they require a company PAN, the authorized person PAN and date of birth, registered authorized person email ID and mobile number to receive OTPs, GST details, company SIN if applicable, and supporting document depending on the type of industry and additional evidence if required. So the screen or the portal which is live right now looks like this, wherein we need to feed all the details. Then once you have set your details, once you have logged into your EPR portals, you can access all your portals, all your compliance and credit exchange at one go. So again, if you have forgot the password of CPR ID and facing linking errors, then you can easily access it through OTP verification. But we have to keep one thing in mind that there should not be a PAN mismatch in any kind of EPR. If you are having a PAN mismatch, yeah, Richa, I can see your question. We will come to that. Let me finish it first. We will answer it out. See, if you are having a PAN mismatch, like there is some error in your EPR registration or something like that, first get your PAN corrected. PAN doesn't mean authorized person. There can be a multiple authorized person which happens in MNC. Okay, PAN means the company. Company PAN need to be similar across all the portals for linking. If a company is having more than, if a company is there, they're having a subsidiary and they're having two PAN. So in that case, the linking will go on the basis of PAN number of the company. And we also suggest to keep single authorized person so it will be easy to you get the OTP and everything. If required, before signing on to the SSO portal, first get all these things changed, then only sign on to the SSO portal, because once it is implemented right now, there is no such because once it is implemented, then I think it is quite difficult to reverse. So before linking anything, before getting it done, get your past data corrected. If it is correct, then you can go through this only. Okay, so this home page will be there, which displays 6 tiles for each waste management. So plastic, e-waste, used oil, tire, battery, and ETP trading portal also. The trading portal will also get reflected over here only. So once you log in, then multiple login is not allowed. You just need to log into your CEPR ID and you can have an access to all the things. So this is just about this common portal. Basically, it will take you to the existing portal only. If you are having registration at plastic portal, e-waste portal, battery portal, tire portal, it will one login will take you to that window only, but you don't have to log in multiple time. The only thing which is solved over there is this only. So this is actually live now, and whoever wants to get converted into this, they can get it done as soon as possible, because in future this portal is only required whenever we are trying to log in or we are trying to getting the credit transfer done. There is a separate help and support portal also for this, which the government has created, like how to link account. Then FAQs are there, complaint management portal is there. So you can also go to the website and you can have a detail of the same. In case if you want, you can drop your mail ID. We will also give you that. So this is about the common SSO portal. Now let's move to the another one. Okay, so this is an interesting topic, EPR ETP exchange, what it is. As now you have seen in the past 3 years from the time the EPR is launched and the compliance process is getting done, the system works like that. There's a manual interaction between the recycler, the PIBOs, consultant, producers, and the credit transfer is done. But because of this manual intervention, a lot of things are happening. The first one is fake credit transfer. The second one is non-existence of recyclers. Richa, we will answer your question. Whatever questions is there, you just put over here. We will answer that. Okay, so moving on to the EPR ETP exchange process. So what I was saying, that there was a fake credit transfer, then fake recycling, fake invoices, and non-existence of the recycler. So these are the major problems which we have also encountered during this process. So the government has come with EPR ETP exchange process. The government has created a portal wherein your credit exchange will take place through a portal which is being navigated by department. Simple. So what are the EPRs which will get covered in this EPR ETP? All categories of EPR: plastic, battery, e-waste, tire, used oil. Any kind of credit you want to buy or sell in the market related to EPR, you need to get yourself registered on EPR ETP. There is a separate process for the recyclers to get registered and a separate process for the producers to get registered over there. The certain charges are also involved once you are getting registration over there. Like if you are getting yourself registered over there, then you have to pay 50% of the application fees at the time of registration. Further, you need to have a escrow account, a bank account, which is the main requirement for, because whenever your credit will get transferred, you need to maintain the balance in the escrow account as per the requirement of the department or something like that. Then only you can get your credit transferred. So who will participate in this? Like, as I already mentioned, registered stakeholders, producers, importers, brand owner, recyclers, any category of person, any category of recycler who is getting registered in the EPR portal, they need to participate in the same. So the platform is built in such a way that an authorized systems can handle up to 50 lakh of transactions annually or 1 lakh plus users with secure infrastructure aligned to international information security standard. Though there are lots of things in this EPR ETP process, like who can generate what. For example, there is also a restrictions on who can transfer what, like who can transfer to whom. So we can have a, another session for discussion of the same. Right now I'm not going into in depth of the same because it involves a lot of time and discussion also. But there is a manual issued by the department wherein it is clearly mentioned like who can transfer to whom, what restrictions are there in case of transfer, and the other categories of transfer which can be done. Apart from that, in case of generation of credits, in case of EPR certificates, various new categories has been involved in plastic packaging. Previously we used to see only cat 1 2 3 4 and Europe, but right now we can see, once this portal will be live, you can see cat 1 reuse, cat 1 reuse less than 4.9L, biodegradable, and other categories also. Along with that, this portal allows credit generation to producer, brand owner, and importer also, which was not there in the previous system which we were following at the time right now. As we can see, only recycler or cement company or waste to energy or PWP can generate credits. But going further, a producer, a brand owner, and an importer can also generate credit. But there is a certain restriction, and what they can generate is specifically defined. So, how this platform will work? Government will set up a uniform clearing price. Government will set up a uniform clearing price. So there will be a transparent price discovery over there. So there cannot be, there cannot be fake rate or fake things will go, because the government will review this price every week, and the whatever equilibrium price will be there, at which the points are getting traded in maximum, that will be the traded value. So it will depend again on the market demand and supply and the rates at which they are getting traded in the market. So as you can see, that once you generate the credit, the validity of the credit and units will be, for EPR plastic certificate, the validity will be 3 years. Like if you generate it once, you have to sell it within 3 years. After 3 years, if you are going to sell it, there will be no use of the same. For the EPR waste and tire certificate, the validity is up to say 2 years. For the battery certificate, validity is up to 7 years. They are available in multiple weight denominations for accurate compliance tracking. Okay, so as I was mentioning about the payment section, there will be a secure financial settlement, 100% buyer payment via escrow before trade execution, digital certificate transfer to buyer account, seller payout completed within defined time settlement. But all these things will not come free of cost. The ETP shall charge a transaction fees which will be equivalent to the 4% of the transaction amount. 2% each party have to bear. Like a buyer is also need to pay 2% and the seller is also need to pay 2% while carrying out any sort of transaction in this portal. There will be a grievance redressal mechanism also, wherein as I was mentioning, that charges up to 4% transaction fees, 2% each from buyer and seller, out of which the 4% which is charged, 30% of the fees will be remitted to CPCB for regulatory oversight. So there will be a grievance redressal mechanism also in this, so that in case of any disputes, any grievance, any redressal, that can be handled, and a separate department will also be constituted for the same. So, after all this discussion, the question which aligns to you might be why EPR ETP matters. It matters because it will be a single, transparent, and technology driven ecosystem, basically helping India as well as the pollution control boards to achieve efficient EPR compliance, fair pricing, and circular economy outcomes, as well as removing all the hurdles and the burdens which we are facing right now while doing credit transfer. So this is the basic which we have discussed in this EPR audit related thing. Sorry, EPR ETP related thing. If you have any questions, now we can have one interactive session now. Then I will go for discussion on ELV and solid waste. As I can see that we have received the two questions. One is from Dinesh Krishnanji. Your custom broker has enforcement with delays in import delivery. Dinesh ji, I think you are facing the problem which majority people face if they are not having the certificate. In case if you want to avoid these things, I will suggest to get EPR certificates for all your clients under whatever category they are falling. Yes, EPR ETP portal. Just a second. दिनेश कृष्णन जी, are you there? I think जो भी EPR के सर्टिफिकेट्स है आप अपने क्लाइंट्स को बोलो लेने के लिए, बिकॉज गोइंग ऑन इट इज गोइंग टू बी मैंडेटरी एंड सिंस यू हैव रेज द क्वेरी फॉर एनी कार्गो विद एनी प्लास्टिक पैकेजिंग मटेरियल्स, इट्स करेक्ट. आज की डेट में इफ यू आर गेटिंग एनीथिंग व्हिच इज हैविंग अ प्लास्टिक पैकेजिंग or any sort of packaging in the form of plastic or straps, then उसके बाद आपके stickers and all, you need to go for this EPR registration. Just ask your clients to get it done so that you can avoid these problems which you are facing right now. And yes, you are correct that EPR regulation should be administered. You are correct in this for administration process only. The government is bringing or coming up with so many things so that you people can be at ease. And you should also not fall, prey to this of demanding money from importers and all this stuff. Richa, I will answer your questions a bit later. Sandeep ji is asking, is EPR ETP portal will affect? See, as we know that the government is already in the process of implementation, but whatever the things is going on, it will take time. It will basically start from the next financial year. So the next financial year credit transfer we will be doing through this portal only. That I'm pretty much sure. But right now, I don't think so. It will be implemented so fast because many things, developments are going on in those portals, and right now it is not on a full-fledged mode. As we see that we are left with very limited time. Right now, it's already we are going to enter March, and from April the credit transfer process will start. So let's see, this year also we are going to, just a second. This year also we are going to go with the process which we are following in the last few financial years. And coming forward for the next financial year, we will be able to use this EPR ETP exchange portal. Ashok Tiwari ji, you have asked plastic EPR annual return date extended or not. Okay. Ashok ji, if you are asking for 24-25, the portal is closed. They are not allowing us to file any return. The only thing which you can do is you can get your credit transferred. If there is any obligation which need to be settled on for 24-25, please get your credit transferred. And post that, if the portal is getting open, then you can file your return over there. But right now the portal is closed. We are also waiting the portal to get open because majority of the people have not filed their annual return actually. Please share ETP portal login link. Is they need to log in common portal, plastic portal separately. See, if you can switch to the common portal, then it's better switched over there instead of logging into the separate individual portals, because sooner or later you have to do this. And so fast, if you can adapt to this, it will be easier for you. You also have to memorize only or keep only one ID and password for the same. Annual return date. See, for 24-25, the window is closed now in case of plastic, in case of e-waste, in case of battery. In case of tire, only used oil portal is open, which is till 31st of March for 24-25. And the second thing, for from 25-26, the portal is going to open from 1st of April, and the due date will be till 30th of June for every category of EPR. So 25-26 need to be done from April, but right now what is happening, in case of e-waste, in case of battery, in case of tire, if you want to get your credit transferred, because the liability is getting reflected at the portal, you can get your credit transferred, and as well as it will be on a safe side to get your credit transferred right now, because we also don't know when this portal will come into effect or when the rate will escalate in the market. If you know your targets, it's better get it transferred before March, because there is a high chances of price escalation will come, because the government is coming with the minimum price which everyone needs to pay to the recycler to bring uniformity in the market. I hope I am clear with Ashok ji. Shamika, please confirm annual return date. I hope I am clear with your question also. And Mangesh ji, how to file EPR plastic return? Mangesh ji, we can guide you for the same, like what are the data required, because it's a tedious process. Credit transfer need to be done, compliance need to be done, documentation upload need to be done. So you can note down the mail ID which we are sharing or the phone number which we are sharing, so that you can interact with us on how to file the EPR plastic return. Team, please share the mail ID and the phone number through which they can connect. Piyush Ji from Sky Group. Just a second. Just a second, Atul Ji, I'm coming to you. First, I'm seeing this Piyush Ji. We will open a manufacturing unit for heat transfer sticker manufacturing, so which registration is mandatory. I think you will you require the CPR for plastic as a producer, because the final product which you are mentioning is sticker. So you will require registration as a producer. And for requiring as a producer, there are few basic requirements. You must have a CT, that was, and that is a mandatory requirement for setting up a plant also. So in case if you want to have a detailed discussion, we'll be sharing the number. We can have a discussion on the same, and we can help you in getting the registration and all. Atul ji, you have to wait for some time, because I know you are a battery recycler. Then, if you are logging into the new EPR ETP portal, you need to first understand the very lot of things are there about the recyclers. We will have a discussion on the same, and I will guide you like how to do. We will help you out with the same, and I will connect with you for that personally. Plastic EPR for it not submitted. Okay, Ashok ji, this is your valid question. See what has happened in the 23-24 also. Many people have not submitted their annual return. So we can see the penalty of 17,500 is levied on them. But whenever we are trying to pay that penalty, also the portal is not allowing us to pay the penalty. So right now, even we also don't know 24-25 what penalty government will impose, or we can also wait that government can open a window for at least 1 week, because in the past 23-24 also we have seen that after a lot of time the government has opened the window for 1 week. So whoever will be able to file, they don't need to pay the penalty, and after that EC will be levied, and it will depend again on the minimum amount will be 15,000 to 20,000, something like that. But for 23-24 also many people are not able to pay right now, so it is also pending for them. Okay, Atul ji, you are trying to log in. Wait, Atul ji, you need to wait for some time. Let this portal get developed fully, because right now it is not the right time to log in. Once it will be ready, then we will be able to log in and all. Harish, Mita, how to get EPR certificate is required. Yes, but depends what you are producing. Or in Harish ji, your question is that how to get EPR certificate, is it required for producer also? Yes, the EPR certificate is required for producer also, but we need to understand like what product your company is producing. What is the final product? Whether it is plastic, battery, e-waste, ELV, or solid waste. First, we need Harishji, we need to understand your product. What is there? Then we can guide you like which category of certificate is required. But definitely, producer. If you are a producer, you need to get the certificate. But again, there is a different definition of producers. Like in plastic, producer means is a separate thing. But in e-waste, producer means importer, brand owner, everything. So we need to understand your business. We need to understand your requirement. Then we can guide you. Power plant. Okay. You can share me your contact details or your mail ID so we can connect with you. Harish ji, you can share your mail ID. We will connect with you because this is a serious topic, the power plant. Okay. So we will discuss with you this thing. Richa, the portal is not linking because we have multiple authorized persons. It is showing in error stating authorized person PAN match. We understand CPC is different. In our case, it's not functioning properly due to different authorized person application. I will proceed method. Richa, you please note down my personal number. I will share you. I can help you out on this, and whatever problem you are facing, we can see this because whatever I have said, the portal is designed accordingly. There might be some mismatch happening at your end. Because of the same, you are not able to link in. And just a second, I'm sharing my number. It's my personal number. You can connect me. I will connect you with my technical team and everywhere so that your problems can be resolved. This is my personal number. You can keep it. My mail ID is also I'm mentioning. You can mail me also. Apart from that, a company mail ID is also there. You can mail over there also. We can help you out on that. Okay. Ashok ji, have you filed any petition related to frequent portal? Ashok ji, no one is going to listen in pollution control board right now for through petitions and all. We have seen these things, and apart from portal glitches and all, lot of things are there which is not getting resolved. Portal glitches and plastic tickets are the basic, very basic thing. We are seeing the clients whose target is so high, like if their target is 200, they are getting a target of 2000. That problem is also not getting resolved. We understand that the department is itself in a development phase for this pollution control things and all this APR things, but gradually going on, we hope with all these portals coming into effect, we can have a better platform where our grievances and tickets can be solved. Because nowadays, what is happening? Most of the tickets are getting unsolved and they are just closing it. This is the basic problem which we are facing right now. Okay, we will have more questions, but right now, let's not go into that. We will go into two parts. As you know, there was already. Okay, just a second. We are going into another discussion now, a short and quick discussion. Okay, so basically, there was already five categories of EPR. We all know. One is EPR for plastic, EPR for e-waste, EPR for battery, EPR for tire, and EPR for used oil. So the five categories of plastic is already live. If you have not taken registration under any of the category and it is applicable to you, we suggest you to take the registration strongly because going further you will need it. Apart from that, the government has recently introduced two more new EPR. One is EPR for ELV. As you can see on the screen, it is mentioned it's end of life vehicles. Means it is related to vehicles. So now coming on to this EPR for ELV, this portal is live now. The basic thing is that this portal is live now. So on whoever it is applicable, they need to register on this portal. As you can see, the MOEFCC notified the draft end of life Itna on 30th of January 2025, but the portal has become live on December this financial year 2025. So many companies are already going up for the registration. You can also go once you understand this process. So moving on to the next slide, the basic first question is that what is, okay, so they are mentioned about Tata Corporate. Just a quick glimpse, it is headquartered in Delhi and we have branches across all over India in 4 to 5 places all over India. We have a dedicated team of 200 professionals who deliver expert in who are expert in delivering import, export, taxation, licensing and regulatory approvals. Apart from that, right now we have served more than 15,000 clients in this EPR category. So either in the form of registration, in the form of compliance or in the form of any legal way, we can help them out. So moving on to the next slide and the basic question, what is ELV? It is end of life vehicles. अपने सुनते हैं ना जो गाड़ी खराब हो गई है, ये basically उनके लिए ही है, end of life vehicles. Now, who is covered by these rules? Now, on whom it is applicable? It is applicable to producer, registered owner of vehicles, bulk consumer, collection center, automated testing center, the entities involved in the testing of vehicles. जो टेस्ट ड्राइव के लिए गाड़ियां देती है ये उन पे भी है एंड स्क्रैपिंग ऑफ ELVs. So basically it is covering the entire car section, bike section. They are covering every category of vehicles. Apart from the few vehicles they have not covered is agricultural tractor, agricultural trailer, combined harvester and power trailer. These are not covered. Apart from that everything is covered. Even अगर आपके पास 2 व्हीलर है, 3 व्हीलर है, 4 व्हीलर है, कुछ भी है वो कवर्ड है, साइकिल छोड़ के सब कवर्ड है. So who is covered under these rules I have already mentioned. And ELV, what is the meaning of ELV vehicles? ELV means the vehicles which are declared unfit through automated fitness centers, or whose registration has been cancelled. So if you are taking the registration, then what are your requirements to be fulfilled? You need to fulfill EPR obligation like every other category. You need to meet the scrapping targets. You need to promote ELV deposits. You need to fulfill EPR, implement buyback, deposit, refund scheme, and submit annual return. So we are not going to discussion of bulk consumers and all those things. We are leaving this section because it's a bit boring and it's not applicable to everyone. Okay, so I'm not going into this PPT. I'm discussing few things apart from this PPT. It is applicable to both transport and non-transport vehicle. Even if there is a transporter who is operating fleet of vehicles, it is applicable to them. And even if it is a non-transport vehicle and you are submitting it for disposition or exchange or anything, it is applicable to the collection agency. So as I mentioned before, like it is applicable on producer. For example, if you are manufacturing or assembling any if you are manufacturing or assembling any car, any two-wheeler or any electronic car or electronic two-wheeler, in that case also you need to register. Provided if you are selling under own brand or selling under other brand or selling to another producer also, then also you need to register. For example, if you are importing under your own brand and selling it, importing and selling it through other brand, importing of vehicles for self-use, in that case also you need to register and mention all the details over there. So collection centers and vehicle scrapping facilities, they have to play the major role because collection centers must ensure that the ELVs are handled and stored safely and send them to the collection centers, registered vehicle scrapping facility. They should be segregated and stored in a proper way, like plastic, metals, tire, e-waste and other material. Then the registered vehicle scrapping facility must depollute, dismantle and treat hazardous component before recycling it. And you have to carry out, the RSVF need to carry out the scrapping treatment and depollution as per the law. This is basically applicable to the recyclers part, which I am discussing right now. So if anyone is taking the ELV registration, automatically you have to take the last 4 registration or 5 registration which is already there. Plastic, because even whenever a car is getting dismantled, plastic, e-waste, battery, oil, everything will come out from there apart from along with steel also. So if you are taking registration under ELV, it means automatically you are falling under all the EPR which is available over there. So what is an EPR certificate? Again, EPR certificate will be issued via the online portal. And the basic twist is there that even you have given the entire car, but your certificate will be based on steel recovered. Even the target will be on the basis of the steel weight of the car. Means how much steel quantity is available in the car. Your target will be on the basis of same, and your credit transfer will be also in the basis of same. So the validity of the same will be 5 years if producer's obligations and rules are met. Moving on to the next slide, latest amendments. This has become obsolete. Moving on to the next slide. So target, like how you are going to show your data and what will be your target. Suppose for example, if you are showing the just a second, there is a separate category for transport vehicle and non-transport vehicle. See, if you are getting registered yourself in 2025-26, you have to mention the steel used in the vehicles which is sold in 2010-11. Then you can get the target. Suppose if a person is getting themselves registered in 2025 to 26 to 2029 to 30, as you can see in the table over here, then you need to give the data from 2010 to 2015. Basically, they are considering past 9 to 10 years data for giving you a target for any financial year. And even if you are taking the registration in 2025-26 and giving the data of, for example, 2023, 24 or 24, 25, then your first compliance target will come in 2038 or 39. Because see, as per the portal requirement, you have to give 10 years data. But there is one more requirement that for the past 2 financial year, you have to give CA turnover certificate. But for the 8 financial years, they don't require any turnover certificate. They just need the data. And for the past 2 years, you need to give CA certificate. So again, it depends on the company to company basis what data they want to show, what they want to reflect in the portal. Accordingly, on the basis of that, target will be calculated. So while taking the registration, you have to be very careful with what data you are showing, because once the data is fed into the portal, you have to go with the compliance part. You cannot change it, you cannot amend it as of now. Later we don't know what will happen, but as of now you cannot change it. So again, there is one more thing over here. See, for example, if any company wants to give past 10 years data also, then the portal is not allowing that right now. You have to go for manual submission, and for the current 2 years only the data you can upload on the portal. There is a separate form for the same. Form 4 was there, which you need to fill up and submit it into the department. Then they can calculate the target on the basis of that, and it will get reflected on the portal. So this is the portal requirement right now. So this is again the EPR target for non-transport vehicles. As you can see, basically they are asking over here for data from 2005-6, and non-transport vehicles and transport vehicles they are asking data from 2010-11. The criteria for calculation is basically same in both the categories. Only the category of which data they are asking is bit different. We will share PPT so you can have a detail on the same. Okay, so this is the question: what to do with hazardous and non-hazardous recyclable materials? Again, it's a matter for the recycler only. They have to recover hazardous material, then they have to mention all the details. They have to properly store it, and they have to maintain the details so that it can be done in a proper way. How can certificates be obtained? Okay, so there is some people need to apply from CPCB, some need to apply from SPCB, and some need to apply from PCC. So there is a separate requirement for every category of registration. For example, if you are a producer, you need to apply through CPCB. If you are a recycler, you will apply registration from SPCB or PCC. And if in case you are a bulk consumer, then you need to apply from SPCB or PCC. Then what need to be done? As we maintained for other categories of EPR, we need to register, we need to channel the ELVs, then we need to maintain the record and submit reports. So again, we need to maintain everything in a separate way for every category of consumers. What happens to the ELV parts afterwards? Okay, so you can refurbish and resell the usable parts. You can recycle and recover the plastic, metal, glass and batteries. You can dispose of the same with hazardous and non-hazardous recyclables. So what is the next question is that what is the validity of EPR? This EPR is valid for basically for a period of 5 years from the date of grant. Renewal is applicable for at least 60 days before expiry. And the continuity of validity depends on timely compliance and reporting. And later we will see that what thing the government brings for us so that we can check out this more. Not going to discuss this. It's responsibility of state pollution control. As we all know that once we will apply, we need to department need to cater to the same. Okay, so one or two things which I have noticed while I was going through their FAQs, like I would like to discuss this with you. For example, if export-oriented entities are there who do not introduce vehicles into the domestic market, they directly export it into the foreign countries. They also need to take registration under this category. The only thing is that they are not subject to EPR targets. They will not get any EPR target, but even for export also, they need to register on this portal. This is the basic thing which we have not seen in other categories of EPR. Apart from that, for example, if a producer is there who is collecting old vehicles from the owner and handing it over to the RVSF, simply we say when we are going to buy a new car, we just surrender or go into the buyback, exchange scheme or anything like that. So the company procures your car, give you the new car or give you some value against the old car. In that case, what will happen to the old car? The producers need to submit it to the RVSF, means Registered Vehicle Scrapping Facility. Producers will not get any form of benefit. They need to they need to perform EPR properly, get the credits from the recycler, and then only it will get done. It is just a process which they are doing on behalf of their customers so that they can be free from this all EPR regulations and all. Apart from that, how much EPR certificate you can produce, or how much EPR certificate you can purchase. So whatever the liability will be there, you can purchase up to that extent only. You cannot keep purchasing extra and using it in the future. That is not possible in this case. Then again, the government fees is bit, government fees is reflecting wrong in this case. But when you go through the FAQs, which is released by the CPCB, you can see the government fees will start from 25,000 and it will go up to 10 lakhs. So the minimum government fees in this case is 25,000. Again, depending on the turnover, if your turnover is less than 10 crore, registration fees is 25,000. If your turnover is less than 1,000 crore, registration fees is 10 lakh. Both for producers and on RVSF. But for recycler, they have set the amount less. It is from 25,000 to 1 lakh, depending on the number of vehicles which they are recycling per annum. Again, if you are not taking the EPR certificate and if you are not complying with the regulations and all, EC will be levied like in other categories of EPR. So these are the basics of EPR for ELV. Many companies have a lot of questions on this, on like how it will be applicable, what to do, what not to do. But we can help you out with the same. You can connect with us in case if you want to get your company registered in EPR ELV category. And we can guide you in a proper way and get your registration done. Because this portal has already become live. So registration is mandatory on whom it is applicable. We are moving on to the next slide, which is for solid waste. Okay. So we all are familiar with solid waste. We see solid waste in our daily life. The government has now become more prominent with this thing. So we are going to start solid waste management rules. Allow me 2 minutes. Okay, so the solid waste management rules 2026 has become applicable. This EPR is also going to come into effect from 1st April 2026. So the solid waste management, as I already mentioned, we all see in our daily life. Whatever waste we are throwing or whatever the garbage is being collected, this rule is being implemented for the same. It will be implemented across India and on a major way, like societies, railways, then public transport, and apart from that, airport authorities, local bodies, municipalities, panchayat, urban, rural. It is applicable on a mass scale and is applicable to everyone. I will not take much time for the same because it's a basically law written over there. Introduction part, I will share you the PPT. You can go through the same. Whatever the waste they are covering, there is a legal and policy framework. So we are discussing with the core principles. First of all, this aspect has brought because of circular economy principle, polluter pays principle, climate and resource efficiency goals, and EPR. So as we know that all the EPRs which are getting enforced is coming into effect to reduce pollution. So these is also come with a circular economy principle only, so that the pollution can be reduced. But now they are covering at the household levels they are going on, so that the waste can be eliminated or can be recycled in a more efficient way. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so the other EPR which is already available over there is applicable in this category also. So again, plastic, if anyone is taking registration under solid waste management, automatically they will fall for e-waste, plastic waste, battery, because whatever waste are getting generated, waste need to be segregated under that category and all the EPR obligations need to be fulfilled. Not taking much time, moving on to the second part. Okay, there will be a 4 segregation part: wet waste, dry waste, sanitary waste, special care waste. The government has brought out those norms and it is written over the law that the waste need to be segregated into 4 parts. One, the wet waste, the other one is dry waste, the sanitary waste, and the special care waste. As you can see, the wet waste is cardboard, metal, glass. Dry waste, as you can see, and sanitary waste, we all know, diapers and all those things, and special care waste like tube lights, chemicals, bulbs, and all those things. Moving on to the next one. Okay, there is one more category which we call as bulk waste generator. Now, who are bulk waste generator? That is the large housing societies, commercial complexes, malls, hotels and hospitals, educational institution, IT parks, malls, airport. Okay, so extended responsibility is also assigned on them. Like if any hotels or any banquet hall or any something they are organizing any events or any social gathering, they need to inform beforehand as per the law which is implemented in this. So these things are going to take in place. I'm not going to refuse derived fuel. It is a very vast topic. Again, the government wants to enforce it in a full-fledged mechanism, and I think once the portal is will be live, everybody needs to take registration under the same if they are falling under this category. And again, if you are not taking the registration or not following up the compliance as another categories of EPR, the polluter needs to pay, or the societies or the other penalties might be imposed on the same. Compliance roadmap is like waste audit, infrastructure setup, digital registration, and documentation will be there. Now, these are the FAQs which are generally asked. So you can see SWM rules, yes, they are legally enforceable. And is EPR mandatory? Yes, EPR principles are embedded through BWG responsibility and producer obligation. Segregation is also mandatory on the part of the who are getting registered under this category. Applicable only to plastic. No, while plastics have dedicated, they all are having a dedicated EPR rules. It is applicable to all the EPRs. Those rules apply to, yes, it will cover all rural, urban, everywhere it is covered. It is covering panchayat, municipalities, and everything. See, right now, only the thing is that a law enforcement has been put into the system that these things are going to be applicable from 1st April. No FAQs, no SOPs are there. So, whatever the basic things we can bring out to you with reference to the solid waste, we have brought the same. And in case the portal is once live now, or we can have an FAQ or SO for industries. There's right now there is no deadline. Ashokji, right now there is no deadline. You have to get registered since you are falling under the industrial category. But the thing is that the portal will start from 1st of April 2026. That only I am saying. Right now the government has brought only law, and with the on the basis of law, no registration can be done. Registration will be done once the portal will be live, and the portal will be live from 1st April 2026. We need to wait till April, then we can see that what are the requirements or what are the deadlines they are giving for registration. They will give enough time for registration because a lot of people are getting covered in this. I think we have completed this part of basic, like what I want to say or what are the things going into in related to EPR in the market right now. So basically we have covered EPR for ELV and EPR for solid waste. ELV we have a detailed discussion because a lot of things are going on into the market. Registration portal is also open for the same, and the latest updates which we mentioned is the audit portal, EPR exchange portal, and common portal and support portal. So these are the changes which are going on. Might be in the future, if more changes are coming, we will come up with the more webinars and more FAQ sessions so that we can spread clarity at least. So we can have a question answer session if anybody wants to have. Anybody wants to ask a question, they can raise. We will allow you to speak now because from our end it is done. Or anybody doesn't want to ask a question or just want to put a message, you can put the message also.
Hi. Hi, good evening. Is my voice is audible?
Hi. May I know your name, sir? Because I cannot see your name. Can you just put your name in the message box?
I'm Gopinath.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Gopinath. As per solid waste management rules, there is one concept called for bulk waste generators, the duties of bulk waste generator is on-site composting and waste processing. Is
So
that
I'm not getting your voice. Can you be a bit loud?
for under solid waste management rules 2026, say under the duties of bulk waste generator?
Okay.
There is one concept is called they have to carry out the on-site composting and water waste processing.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct because they want the water to be treated at source of generation only. I think with the large establishments and the large societies they will be setting up, because if you are having, see, generally we see in our offices also, if there is an eco park or something like that or a IT hub, they have a separate water treatment plant. So it's a normal thing. Just this needs to be implemented if it is applicable.
What is the minimum criteria for that? If it is a 50 KLD, it is recorded
Right
like that.
now, I have
Why
to
means I have a 70 KLD STP. I don't have a UTP. How much raw effluent water that much not generating per day. I am generating only 2 kiloliter only. So I am sending outside. Okay. Other than
Okay.
that, no horticulture waste around 20 kg, 30 kgs per day. It is that much not a quantity. Like food waste also, 20 or 30 kgs only it is there. If it is a composting plant, we have to make means any minimum criteria it is there. Quantification, anything it is there. That I want to
Sir,
say.
so far I have gone in the, I have to check the law for the same as per your question.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
connect over the phone. You share your number now, in case if you're comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put.
Okay.
Okay.
Apart from that, any other question anybody wants to ask? Anybody wants to drop any question? Then you can drop a question on mail ID. See, I cannot say that I have solved major of your questions or your major problems. Okay, but the only thing is that, okay, Gopinath ji, I will connect with you, Gopinath ji. I'm noting down your these things.
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
the purpose of this webinar is that we simply try to bring what we know. Because I also know a lot of things are going, since I am also dealing with a lot of companies, lot of MNCs, we also know that lot of things are going in the market actually. Many people are not having clarity on many things, what is applicable, how it is going to be applicable, and a lot of stuff are there. So this purpose of this webinar is just to interact with you so that even I can learn from you people, benefiting and I can also share what I have tried. So I just want to be, it need to be an interactive session. Apart from that, we conduct FAQs also where we discuss a lot of topics. Okay, Anil ji, you are a corrugation box manufacturer. You import spare parts. You import spare part related to Anil ji, can we talk because I want to discuss this with you. I think Anuj is not there. Okay, still we are answering that if you are importing any part or electronic component or anything like that, and you are using it for business purpose, like for captive consumption, you don't need to take EPR e-waste registration. But if you are importing the thing which is wrapped in plastic, you need to get yourself registered under EPR for plastic category. So you need to take under EPR for plastic and not for EPR for e-waste. So far, I understand your question. Any other question? But packed with plastic wrapping. Yes, that only I'm saying. See, EPR की ना दो category है. One is EPR for plastic, EPR for e-waste. Since you are using it into your own manufacturing plant for manufacturing something, you don't require e-waste certificate. It is clear-cut mentioned that if you are importing for captive consumption, you don't need to take certificate. Just you need to put the declaration in e-waste. But if the same product is wrapped in plastic packaging, you need to take EPR for plastic, which is mandatory. एक प्रोडक्ट पे पांचों ईपीआर भी एप्लीकेबल हो सकती है और एक प्रोडक्ट पे दो ईपीआर, तीन ईपीआर, सिंगल ईपीआर भी एप्लीकेबल हो सकती है. इट अगेन डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट इज द प्रोडक्ट. So if you have not taken the registration, please take it the registration of the same. Any other questions? Okay, Ashok ji, suppose we have registered as brand owner, PVs and registered as importer. Yes. Yes, correct. Because all are separate category. If you are importing something, you need to register as EPR. Sorry, as an importer. Because brand owner certificate नहीं चलेगा इसमें. It will not work. Nor PWP. Because you are importing as an importer. So importer की category अलग है. Okay, so another question has come up. We have registered for plastic because we imported parts wrapped in plastic, but that was just one-time thing to be. See, there is one suggestion for the same. You can surrender it. If you don't want this EPR registration right now, you can surrender the same. Do we need to file return? Yes, before surrendering the same, you need to file return. Even if it is nil return also, you need to file it and getting it surrender. But the thing is that right now, law has been implemented for getting surrender, but department doesn't know how the process of surrendering and all. So that's why it is taking much time from department end. Even we have also surrendered many applications, like those who don't want the API registration. In that category also, we have seen that the department doesn't know the process, like from where they need to surrender, or from where they need to activate this. In few states the surrender process is happening smoothly, but in few states not happening smoothly. This is the real fact right now which is going on. Any other questions? How to surrender? Okay, there is a process for the same, Manilji. I cannot tell everything over here. You need to connect with me or with my team. We will guide you through the process. There is a process wherein you need to submit set of documents along with certain things. Then your surrender process will start. If you want to. Due to portal glitches, unable to generate API credit, should we file annual return or wait? Which category, sir? Ashokji, which category? Like plastic or e-waste or battery? Which category you are asking? प्लास्टिक सर वेट एंड अभी आप क्या लगाओगे 24-25 की तो रिटर्न लगाने नहीं देंगे 24-25 you are not able to do. You have to wait for the portal for getting it open. You can only do for 25-26. वो भी आपके अप्रैल से स्टार्ट होंगे. So you cannot do anything right now even if you want to. You have to wait. Apart from that, any other questions? I think any other questions? Anybody wants to ask any questions you are having? We are free to answer. We can help you out. Just raise your hand. This window is open only for 5 minutes because we also need to wrap this webinar now. Again, I'm sharing my number. In case if you want to connect or you want to discuss any specific thing, we can get back to you. In case you want the PPTs also which we discussed over here, or any SOP or any FAQ, you can just mail on this mail ID. We will arrange for you all these things. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. It was a nice interactive session with you all. With few free to ask and the others didn't ask. That's okay. We can have a more interactive session. We would like you to share your feedback on the session which we had. We tried to bring our best which we could, or whatever knowledge we are having. I hope at least we can spare some things to you also.
या थैंक यू सुनैरा जी, काफी इंटरैक्टिव सेशन रहा और इंटरैक्टिव बनाने के लिए हम लोगों ने काफी कोशिश की. लेकिन एनीवे मैं जस्ट ये बोलना चाह रहा हूँ, सपोज ईपीआर क्रेडिट जनरेट नहीं करता है प्लास्टिक का 24-25 के लिए, तो विंडो अगर ओपन होता है तो रिटर्न सबमिट कर देना चाहिए या फिर होल्ड करना चाहिए?
100%. अगर मान लीजिए एक दिन के लिए भी विंडो ओपन होता है ना, तो मैं तो बोलूँगी वो बस उस दिन में सबमिट कर ही देना है, ताकि अपना पेनल्टी और कंप्लायंस से अपने बचे.
क्योंकि पीडब्ल्यूपी का जो पेनल्टी है वो बहुत माइनर रहता है कंपैरिजन टू लायबिलिटी ऑफ पीबोज.
सर बात सही है, बात सिर्फ पेनल्टी की नहीं होती है, बात है आपको आगे भी क्रेडिट जनरेट करके बेचना है. सो आगे कोई आपको प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप ऑडिट के ट्रैप में फॉल नहीं करो बोल के है कि जिस दिन भी अपना पोर्टल ओपन होता है, वी आल्सो वेटिंग कि सर पोर्टल कब ओपन होगा, बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोगों के रिटर्न्स पेंडिंग है. मार्केट में जितना मुझे समझ में आता है 30-40% लोगों के ही रिटर्न लगेंगे अभी तक जिनका ईपीआर रजिस्ट्रेशन है.
बिल्कुल सही.
अगर गवर्नमेंट एक बार भी विंडो खोलती है तो हम तो सर एक दिन भी मिलेगा तो हम सारा लगा देंगे जितना पॉसिबल है. तो इसीलिए अभी आप अगर चाहोगे भी तो आप नहीं लगा सकते हो कुछ. यू हैव टू वेट. या तो मार्च के पहले या तो सर मार्च के पहले खुलेगा ये पोर्टल, या तो फिर बंद है तो बंद ही है फिर अब.
तो वो तो ऑटो रिटर्न फिल हो जाएगा आई थिंक. अगर
जैसे 23-24 का हुआ था सर, 23-24 में भी तो वही हुआ था ना, ऑटो फिल करके पेनल्टी लगा दिया. लेकिन मजे की बात ये है कि पेनल्टी भी पे नहीं कर पाते हैं. अब जैसे बहुत पार्टीज है जो पेनल्टी पे करना चाहती है, वो फिर पेनल्टी भी नहीं पे कर पाती है. तो ये डिबेटेबल चीज है. और प्लास्टिक पोर्टल में थोड़ा ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है कंपेयर टू ई वेस्ट और बैटरी के पोर्टल में.
वही
अभी सर ई वेस्ट पोर्टल में भी प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है। अभी आप बताइए कि अभी 2 दिन पहले क्रेडिट दिख रहा था, किसका क्या है ड्यू है, अभी क्रेडिट दिखना बंद हो गया। तो सारे पोर्टल्स में ही इनके ग्लिच है अभी।
ये एकदम सही, क्योंकि 5 से 6 टिकट रेज हुए वो क्लोज कर दे रहे हैं, बहुत
सर
सारे
कोई
टिकट।
टिकट मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, बीइंग अ कंसल्टेंट इन दिस लाइन फ्रॉम जब से ईपीआर आया तब से आर का कंसल्टेंट है एंड आई एम हैंडलिंग दिस डिवीजन। टिकट्स सिर्फ रेज होते हैं, सॉल्व नहीं होते हैं।
करेक्ट।
वो सॉल्व लिख के बस 2 दिन बाद उसे बंद कर देते हो, कुछ नहीं होता है।
बिल्कुल सही।
इसके लिए एक उपाय है
एनीवे
सर।
जीरो में उसको सबमिट कर देना है साहब। एक्चुअली क्या ये ह्यूज लॉस भी है ना, सपोज मैं 30,000 टन का क्रेडिट जनरेट कर सकता हूँ और पोर्टल ग्लिचेस के कारण नहीं कर पा रहा, तो ये कंप्लीटली लॉसेस है ना।
ऑब्वियसली ये लॉसेस भी। आप रिसाइकलर भी हो क्या?
करेक्ट।
आप
रिसाइकलर को प्रोसेसर बोल सकते हो आप।
हाँ हाँ, आई अंडरस्टूड। आप अपना नंबर शेयर करना ना मुझे, आई हैव मैसेज 9 नंबर, यू कैन जस्ट पिंग मी।
श्योर। ठीक
ये
है।
सब प्रॉब्लम है सर। अभी ईपीआर जो सिचुएशन में है, अभी साल 2 साल से लगेगा पूरा फुल फ्लेजेड आने में।
करेक्ट। एनीवे वेट करते
Anyways, let's hope for the best. Thank you everyone. So I am signing off from this webinar. अपने जब when we will have a next webinar, we will share the details for the same too, and I hope you will join and we can have an interactive session. Thank you.